and it's awesome.
He knew how to let out the clutch.
Which is better, especially for shorter guys. I did get a ride at Glen Helen a bunch of times. Yeah, I don't want to ruin the places. Pump the brakes.
You got to treat him kind of nice.
It's so sad lately, dude.
Welcome to That Moto Show with Dirt Bike TV's Jay Clark and producer Donnie Bales.
Welcome to That Moto Show. It's that time again. We've missed a week or two.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Donnie. Donnie's traveling. We got stuff going on, right?
Life happens.
Life happens. So I'm sorry. Luckily, we have no contractual obligations.
Just with each other.
Right. So there's no, if we miss a show, no big deal. No one's filing a grievance or complaining. So anyway, we're back. No Spencer, unfortunately. He's up in Utah. I'm going up there this weekend.
Nice.
And so I'm going up there this weekend, the middle of March and the end of March. Every 2 weeks. I'm only home a week in between. Every 2 weeks.
That end of March is that other ride. Too.
Right.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about some rides.
Go.
So show 29.
29.
I think it's our fourth one of this year.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem right, though. Does it?
Yeah, it does. This is middle of February, end of February, whatever it is.
Okay. So show 29. Ping was 29.
Yeah, Ping was 29.
That's one of the main ones I remember.
Andrew Short.
Andrew Short was for a long time.
Yeah.
Cool dude.
Yeah.
He's racing with his kids.
Smiling assassin.
Yeah. He was pretty tough.
He was like the nicest guy off the track, and he gave you no quarter on the track.
Yeah. Well, anyway, glad to be back. Should be a good show. We have tons of really good questions. We have a really cool bike behind Donnie. Let's talk about that first.
Yep.
This is my ES 500. We have two of these because I sold my EXCs, and we bought two of these this fall from Rocky Mountain dealership in St. George, Utah, for those that are wondering. And because I sold my
This bike cost me a ticket.
Oh, but we got out of the ticket, so don't worry about it. We got out of it.
I still had to go through that abuse.
Yeah, right. It was terrible, but we got out of that. So I got off at that exit. I was going to send you photos the other day when I got off and went over there, but I forgot.
It's open, right?
It's open now. Yeah. It took forever for it to be open. That's a long story. If people ask enough, we can tell the story. Okay. So that bike is really cool, and it was a really good deal. They're blowing these bikes out at the end of the year. They had really good incentives, and so I got a good deal. I got two of them. I sold my two EXCs, older ones, and now I got these. I'm probably going to have these 4 or 5 or 7 years. Who knows? It'll be a long time.
You had 450s that you'd got.
I had a 450 and a 350.
You got rid of both of those?
Both of those. So I still have one 350 Husky. It's up at my son-in-law's. So I have one there.
You got to treat him kind of nice.
Right. So he's got one there that we keep there. And that one's pretty good. That's that Husky with the real low hours. It's pretty clean. It's like a 18, 19 range.
You basically introduced him to riding.
Right.
Did he ride at all before he became your son-in-law?
No, I think he'd ridden like a street bike around kind of thing.
He knew how to let out the clutch.
Right.
Okay.
That's about it. But so he enjoys it.
He's a good dude.
Right. So we got that up there, and these bikes are really cool. And what's cool about this bike is it's in the new issue of Dirt Bike magazine. It's the dual sport issue, and we got a 2-page spread here. And then, hold on, I'm backwards. The actual story's right here. So we got the spread here, and talk about all the cool stuff we did. Some of the highlights of this bike are they got a twisted ECU with quick shift. How rad is that, right? You like that on yours?
I do like it.
Okay, so we've got quick shift. This bike makes
it's such crazy because you go quick shift is unnecessary on these bikes, right?
Right, you think so.
But it's one of the funnest features there are.
You wouldn't think you would need it or want it on a dual sport, but it really is cool to hold the throttle half, 3/4, whatever, and it's awesome. These bikes are about 39 horsepower stock. Ours are about 60 to 61 with the exhaust flange on and the ECU done. So they just rip, and they're still smooth and easy to ride. So that's really helpful with the slip-on exhaust. We have the stock header on there, just a slip-on exhaust, the Recluse torque drive clutch. And I have a trials tire on that right now, the K950 street legal tire, IMS tank, for the gas double take mirror. True North Motos helped with a lot of the enduro bits, the dual sport bits. They get us a lot cleaner up there. Moto minded headlight. Schmidt did the suspension on this one. 6500 kit because I can, right? So that was pretty cool. So this bike is really trick. Like I said, I'm gonna have these things a long time. We don't ride them very often, 5-7 times a year. Who knows? Like on real rides, because we have good bikes, others to use. So, but this bike is fully capable. I rode it up in our desert stuff just after we did the photo shoot. So I took it out one of those rainy days we had a couple weeks ago, which I was gonna talk about. But I rode that bike one day with Jim's group, and totally fine. It was awesome. Even with that tire, it was great. Yeah.
Would you have fun riding this at Glen Helen?
Oh yeah. If you had a knobby on there, I think I could do
no problem.
I don't think it'd be any problem at all.
What's the big difference between this and the KTM?
Linkage. This one has a linkage, which is better, especially for shorter guys, because it sits down a little bit. You can increase that sag. So I like the linkage a little bit better, especially if you're going to get a little more moto-y. Not that the PDS is bad. If most of the stuff we're doing, the PDS is good. Guys go, well, it's going to hang up on logs. I'm not going across enough logs to ever matter. I'm not stressed about logs. So that's why I like that bike. So anyway, that's a really cool bike. You can check it out in Dirt Bike. It's pretty awesome. February's been a tough month, busy. I was coming up with 20 to 1 or 30 to 1, 32 to 1. So 32 to 1 or 20 to 1.
Yeah.
What do you think? You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?
Yeah, the ratio.
Oh, the thing right there, the ratio, right? That's 32 to fun.
That's 32 to fun. That's what I'm saying. The ratio to fun to work ratio.
I was going to go to the ratio to my riding versus your riding.
Oh man, we don't even want to talk about that.
20 to 1?
Yeah, for sure.
20 to 1. It's so sad lately, dude. So
yeah,
we're hoping that this can improve in the spring.
Listen, and we don't need to get into it, but I think I've had some legitimate reasons.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
Yeah.
So
one thing is, and listen, I love my kids, but I did make, I don't want to call it a mistake, but I did have a forced error where I had kids later.
Right. But it allows you guys to build your life before.
Yeah.
So you're just grandparents.
I did a lot of riding and traveling before.
Yeah. Right. So you're just like grandparents with little kids. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So I did get a ride at Glen Helen a bunch of times in February. I got some cool pics from Gerbil Shots. He's a friend of Kiefer's, really good guy. He takes good photos. I sent you some of those. You can throw some of those on the screen.
Yeah, I got those.
Glen Helen's been awesome. I did take a break for about 2 weeks from Glen Helen when I had those rainy spells, and then we hit the hill tracks and stuff like that because
I saw a question about that later.
Right. So we go up there. That's one of my questions I get is, where do you ride? And they want to know, there's two places. First of all, the hill tracks, like in Southern California, guys want to know where it is. We're not going to tell you. And it's a tough deal.
You mean you won't drop a GPS pen for them?
No, because I had to find out the hard way. This way I look at it is, no one showed me. Right. So I go exploring, especially in the summertime. The dual sport's nice for that. I'll take my little Toyota truck out, go find spots. I go find spots, right? So wherever there's train tracks, a dump, or like if you're in Southern California, unfortunately, there's places where people make their own dumps.
Yep. And
they dump stuff. Any place where there's lots of trash, usually you can get away with it.
I'm going to tell everybody where you ride I need some kind of monthly fee from you unless you tell me.
Then the next thing is trail riding spots. So then we get guys asking us where this trail riding spot is. Like we rode in the desert. I posted the snow desert day. How amazing was that? I need to send you on my phone. I have some video of that. Let's play some of that video.
That's a bittersweet when you send me those photos.
Yeah. Because that was probably the best day. I'm not saying just to be mean, but it was probably the best day I've had out there.
Because let's talk about another ratio then. Mm-hmm. What is your ratio on moto to trail ride?
It's so hard, but I would say it's 80 to 1. I prefer moto to trail. And you got people go, why? It's moto for me. I'm kind of spoiled. In Southern California, trails aren't very good, except in the desert in the winter when they're wet. So then that's kind of a distraction, I want really good epic trails. So then I have to travel to Utah or to Idaho or to Wyoming or Montana. I have to travel places to go to epic trails. So it's much more work. Then it is harder because we're not just doing fun little slow, easy trails, and the problem is at most of the riding areas we go, there is lots of that 50% or 70% of fun, easy stuff. But everybody I'm going with, I'm usually one of the slowest guys in the group, so that's a downside. And at the end of the show, we're going to talk about a ride I have coming up. We're going to invite people to, so we can talk about that.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But the reason we don't show everybody is because No one showed us. There's basically
No.
little to no rides I go on that anybody told me about. I found them. In Utah, there's a great website that's there. It's called dirtbikeutah.net. Really cool guy, Dave, runs that, and he just does it for the good of humanity.
But up there compared to here, there's quite a bit fewer guys.
Yes.
Because there's more places to trail ride up there.
And way less people riding,
And
so it
way
doesn't
less
get
people
ruined.
ride, yeah.
They do have some areas that are just getting totally blown out and overridden, like, you know, what's happened to Kindy Meadows or whatever, right? That's 50 years of riding. So, but the other areas and some of these secret areas maybe aren't as legit. Those we kind of keep a little bit more secret. And so the reason is that, I don't want to ruin the places, especially the moto tracks in Southern California. I want to keep those secret. And then my big point on the trail rides in other areas is I don't want to blow up somebody's area.
Right.
So I'm gonna make it up. Like Colorado's pretty well known, but let's say I found some really cool spot in Colorado, and then I listed the coordinates. I told everybody where to go. I posted it and I sent it to everybody, or I posted it on my Instagram. Told everybody where to go in Colorado. How are the locals gonna feel about their trails?
The other guys show up.
Right. So the locals are all mad. So the locals enjoy that I ride their trails. They think it's cool. I see guys comment and they like that I don't promote where it's at.
Well, here in Southern California, we ride with people, or we know a lot of people that they also don't spread where they ride.
Right.
Everybody does it here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like you're with the cool kids, but when you're with the cool kids, they let you know because they know you're not going to tell others.
Well, this brings up an interesting point. I went twice by myself riding this hill tracks, and I could have gone with some other guys, or I could have invited some people to my thing, but it would have blown up. And it's like when the Kung Flu was spreading, you know, multiplied. Mm-hmm. So I would have had just a disease of infection going across my track.
Right.
Okay. So I didn't do it. So I just went by myself. And I think I sent you some videos of that.
You did, yeah.
Okay. Before we get too far into the show, remember to email me your tech questions or anything like that. Just remember to email me. You can go to our website to find it. If you don't have our email, just go to the website, dirtbiketv1.com. There's a contact tab that's really easy. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, on Sunday, the March 2nd, we're filming this a couple of days before, but if you're listening to it then, there is a Cardo sale that ends. It's just the 1st and 2nd of March. That's it. If you listen to the show then, there is that sale going on, 25% off. If you use our code DBTV1 at checkout, you save 25%, which is huge for Cardo. That's their biggest sale they'll ever do.
Normally, what they do, 10%?
It's 10%, I think, with our code most of the time. Okay. All right. One down. Good job, Donnie.
Nice.
Have we talked enough Supercross?
We haven't said anything about
It's playing
Supercross.
off to the side of here.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to shoot a picture of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that you can embed this into the show, because it honestly is kind of distracting me a little bit.
It's been distracting me.
Have you noticed that too? So if we do take a break, let's turn it off. It's fine, but it is kind of cool, but it is distracting. Like,
I just feel like we're in the zone with it running.
okay. So Triple Crown was Dallas.
Yep.
We'll back up to the other news, but let's just start with Dallas, because we're not going to have the Daytona one in here. Okay. But Daytona, I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of betting on Chase for Daytona. I think he's going to right the ship.
Yeah.
And I think, now maybe I'm just being optimistic that he's going to get it, but I don't think Webb's going to be as strong there.
Yeah, but Webb has challenged, remember those 2 years, he fully challenged Tomac for those 2 years. And 1 year, Christian Craig cut him off.
Yeah.
When he was being lapped, and he hung him up. And then,
so who are you going to pick then for Daytona?
Oh no, I'm picking Sexton as well.
All right, all right.
I really am. I think that I agree with you. I think he's going to right this ship, and it's really, he has only a couple of rounds to ride it, and if he doesn't, it's going to completely capsize. And
how fun was Dallas?
Yeah, so I went to Dallas, and Johnny, that we did that Yamaha for, I go there every year. I've gone there for like 5 or 6, 7 years, and honestly, I think we talked about this a long time ago, but I like football stadiums better than baseball stadiums.
Right.
Obviously, Anaheim one is our Daytona or Super Bowl or whatever you want to call it, but I love the width of the lanes and everything, and that start was long.
Is it like half full with fans? Is it half?
No, it's full.
That place holds 100,000. So
Okay.
maybe not that full, but like
No, it's full. But what they do is, I believe on purpose, they don't sell the entire top section.
so they could have got 70,000 there. You think it was that high?
I think so.
That'd be interesting to
All
know.
sections except for the top were full.
Okay. And a football game, when they get that 100, they're filling the whole bottom,
Yeah.
which is all blocked off. You're not
Right.
running any of that bottom
I
stuff.
bet you they had every bit of 65,000 people.
Okay.
And so,
So it was fun, and Triple Crown is so much action, right?
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Triple Crown.
I like him. The more I see him, I'm like, man, this should be like
Okay,
this
it
every
was
week.
fun, but at the same time, I guess I'm no pro, but I kind of side with them. Like every time they start, I think somebody's going to get hurt.
It's definitely more risky, and the heat races aren't as much online because people go, well, you're only starting one more time. But
It's not the same.
The heat races don't
It's
have the
also
intensity,
6 minutes,
and there's half as many good guys.
half as many good guys.
Yeah, the other half are in the other heat, the
Yep.
other half are in this heat. So you don't have as many good guys going for that want that first turn, right?
Yeah,
That whole
but
show.
all the races, I mean, everybody watched it on TV. It had a lot of action.
Oh, yeah.
And the cool thing about always being at the race is you can look around and
Yeah.
choose your action. But
I like that the first thing you did when you got home?
yeah,
You watched the race.
I watched the race immediately.
So you could watch it on TV.
Yeah. I actually, on the plane flying back, I was like, really, because I flew back early Sunday. And
Did you watch it? Did you figure out how to watch it then on the flight?
Well, okay, no, but I did. I was watching it on Peacock while I was at the race,
Oh,
so that I could look at replays.
and it was good enough signal. You could watch it.
Yeah,
on your phone.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They had like whatever guest Wi-Fi inside the stadium, and I just picked up their guest Wi-Fi, and I had it, and so I could go back and look at especially after Jordan crashed. I looked at that a
That's
bunch,
funny.
But I wasn't like sitting and watching because the screen. You're into football, so you know the size of that screen, right?
That jumbo. Yeah.
It's 160 feet wide and 72 feet tall.
Yeah.
And so I find myself actually looking at that screen a lot when I'm like, wait, I'm at the race. I can look down, but that screen's overwhelming.
And how sad were you after Tampa?
Yeah.
It was pretty depressing, right? Because you're a huge. You have I was gonna call it a boy crush, but he is a man now.
Man crush.
So man crush on Tomac,
Yeah.
and that was sad.
All I'm doing is thinking that
You were bummed about it loosened the desire to go to Dallas.
it did, but I'd already had tickets.
Right.
All I'm thinking is he's got to be back. If he comes back for at least 4 or 5 races, it'll perk me up a tad bit.
All right. Well, and we did see some news this week that it looks like that's what his goal is
Yeah.
to try to come back and because if he races 4 or 5 races, he's ready more for outdoor.
There's also no reason to plate that bone unless you're trying to come back early, and that's what he did. Because that bone actually is a less load-bearing bone, and it heals quickly anyway.
Speaking of breaks, did you see Chase's plate that in his leg, Chase Curtis?
Oh my
the
gosh.
SWAT Moto?
Poor Chase Curtis. That is a bummer what happened to him.
Total bummer.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, good luck healing up,
do you
Chase and Eli. We've been staying pretty busy with project bikes, and I've been messing with the CR250s a bunch, doing some suspension testing there. The 25 CRF 250 and 450 changed chassis. You've heard all the Jet and Hunter stuff, right?
Yes, I have.
Where you're almost sick of it? Well, I've actually was kind of laughing at them and everything. And now I've been messing with suspension a bunch on the bike and doing more tuning than I did on the older bike.
Do you find that, like, okay, you rode that 250 initially, right? And do you find with everybody, that there's kind of a high on the new bike and you don't really kind of...
It is until you ride something else. And so
Right.
once you ride something else, especially the same day, like if I have my Yamaha 250, if I hop on it and I'm like, oh crap, dude. Because
Right.
you think something's pretty good, then you hop on something that's better and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like we have that happen all the time on our trail rides. So in our trail rides, I like to try other people's bikes on the ride because you're going for 4 or 5 hours. You're on your bike for an hour or two, hop on somebody else's bike. I think it's a great thing to do if you're with a group and you go, man, my bike feels way better than this. And get back on yours and then hop on somebody else's, you can help learn some stuff.
Yeah, I know you promoted that several times.
Yeah.
When we go ride, you've like, ride this bike, ride that. What do
Yeah.
you think? And it's like, it's really fun.
Right. Especially on trail riding because on the track, if I'm not totally comfortable on it, like I rode Trevor Hunter, he rode my Yamaha a minute. So I rode his 300 gas on the track. I did one lap. I have videoed it. I'll put it up. I'm gonna post it here soon. But when I say it's scary, dude, I'm short shifting. I'm shifting like so quick. Just do.
Wow.
I want to put a 1 or 2 smaller rear sprocket on the thing. So
you're all business at the motocross track too,
right? I just want to get in there, get a good 40 to 50 minute moto in, have fun, like a workout, enjoy it, and go. But that 300 two-stroke is a lot of bike. It's pretty gnarly.
Really?
Yeah. But you can see why, guys. If you and I had never ridden 4-strokes and just stayed on CR250s, right? Like when we were, right?
Yep.
I think we'd be fine with these newer generation 300 motocross bikes. I think we'd be fine with it because we've lost that skill and whatever. And here I'm used to smooth, easy.
I consider the 4-stroke just like the internet. It's literally the best and worst thing that's ever happened to us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it, because there's many downsides to the 4-stroke, but the biggest upside is that it's way easier to ride, way easier to go better, longer.
Would you think you would be riding at this level without a 4-stroke?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think I would have crashed more because I think I would be pushing it more, and it's way easier it's more tough. And this is what I talk about. I feel like McGrath, what he did when he raced and did so well, I think is even more gnarly that he has all those Supercross wins, because it was way harder to do what he did on a 2-stroke 250. I believe that it was way harder to do it, and he was way more skilled at that through those years than anyone else riding a 250 2-stroke on Supercross.
For sure.
And I think if they were all on fuel-injected 4-strokes, the same people he competed with, I still think he wins a ton, right? But I think it's way closer. Maybe he wins less if they're on, like the equipment they're on today. If all the people he raced, the same guys, all had fuel-injected 4-strokes, and I think it would be a little different myself. People are going to go, well, isn't he great? But I think the bikes and the skill, you don't need as many skills to ride a 4-stroke.
Absolutely.
At that level.
Right.
We'll never know that, but that's kind of my take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. First of all, you don't accidentally win 72 times in Supercross, right? So, but the point is, like, I can't go right now and, like I haven't had a 2-stroke that I've ridden since 2000. So I don't think I could go back and ride nearly as fast, or I don't say as fast, but I want to say as competent as I do now. There's no way.
Right.
So the fact that he had the speed he did, sometimes I look at like some of the obstacles they do on the 2-strokes. I'm like, how do they come out of the corner on that 2-stroke and just do that?
Well, by comparison, it's the reason on the track at my advanced age, I feel better riding a 250F because I can ride it harder than I can a 350.
For sure.
Even a 350, let alone a 450. So I can ride it. I will ride the 350 in the track, but when I ride it, I am a click or two slower.
Hey, I'm actually considering it. A 450.
A 450.
Yes.
The Triumph.
Not
the Triumph. The Ducati.
The Ducati.
That's right. I knew you were going to do.
I mean, it actually is.
It looks pretty awesome.
It's in the back of my head.
But I think we should wait and see.
I'm waiting because my buddy Jim is always making. Didn't you put your $1,000 down?
No, wait 6 months.
I'm going to check up on that.
Right.
I might even wait a full year.
Yeah.
I want to see if anything's going to blow up.
Right. And see that the mapping's good.
It's the only 450 I've been interested in 8 years.
Right. And with that, you're going to want to make sure. I'd wait to the second year to the suspension guys.
I agree.
Have the suspension figured out.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Right, because you do it the first year. You're a guinea pig guy.
I'm literally thinking about, but if all things being equal, it could be in the cards.
That's funny. All right. So Ducati it is. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about. I got some photos of. I dropped off frames at the San Diego powder coating.
Yep.
And it just worked out that we finally got somewhere with my 73 Husky 400 CR.
Yep.
Norm Francis has been helping me. We finally got the frame welded up, and we got the Eventco shocks that we're going to run. We got it all mocked up. We've got a different swing arm that he helped me with, a 250 mag swing arm or blah, blah, blah. I don't even understand all this stuff because this is too vintage for me. So he's helping me with it. And then at the same time, I tore down that TX300 of 2019. So these bikes are like 50-something years apart, right?
Apart, yeah.
I had two Huskies that I dropped off at San Diego Powder Coating. They're 50 years apart. I thought it was pretty rad.
50 years apart.
Right. So I'm getting both painted the same color. They're going to be like that Bangle silver I did on the CR.
Yeah, I like that
so
one.
for the vintage bikes, it's good. And then somebody, when I was tearing down the TX300, somebody's like, oh, you're just going to paint it boring white again? And I'm like, yeah. And then I go, I shouldn't do it. I should do something more fun. And so I'm
like what?
So I did silver.
Silver,
yeah. So it's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting.
Right. Just that blue is terrible. So we welded on little tabs.
The blue's not even blue.
No, yeah, it's just, garbage blue.
Yeah.
If it was a Yamaha blue, it'd be different.
Right.
But I welded on tabs for the skid plate. Those 2019, those 17, 18, 19, those didn't have tabs to screw on a skid plate. So I like that. It's a hassle.
Yeah.
Remember when you have that bracket? And so no one wants to take the skid plate off because it's a hassle.
I told you I threw a bunch of stuff away. Actually found one of those brackets and I threw it away. I'm like, I'm not using this.
Never do that. Right. So when we did that, we sent the cylinder off. Tom Morgan, just awesome dude. Went through the cylinder. I already got the cylinder back and the frame's just at powder coating. So I'm running behind. So I'm going to get this on the engine.
You are running behind.
Right. So I'm going to get this on. He ported the cylinder for us, did some cylinder matching, changes things up a little bit, gets it cleaned up. Also set up our head. Look at this.
Nice.
So way higher compression. We'll check squish. I'll do a video on that and checking squish. I think he said 40 to 50,000. So I'll check that. But I think we're going to be somewhere around 40 to 50,000.
Standard bore or what?
Standard bore, Fit 300. Yeah. And we got a Pro X piston, which Pro X usually is all cast pistons, okay, the Japanese stuff, right? But on the KTM bikes, they're forged. And because this brand was out, now this forged one might be very similar to this one, okay? So anyway, so I got a forged Pro X because all the KTM ones are out there. So we have that, and we also got some new Cometic gaskets. So we'll run the half thou thick base gasket. So Tom does a good job of telling you what to do. The power valve's all set up nicely. So that's our big news on the TX300 that everybody's been talking about. And this is a bike I'm probably going to keep a long time as well because it's like the last of the carbureted bikes.
That's why you got it.
Right. And I got a good deal on it, so I'll keep it a long time.
And how many hours did he have on it?
60.
Yeah, not too bad.
We have bikes. There's guys that Rado got one that had 230, 40 hours on that the cylinder had never been off the bike. And then we put a piston on it. We put a piston on it when he got it. It looked great. Put a piston in, and he's put another 80 plus on it.
Is this just because it's more low revving? People aren't revving them out.
And there's really good components. That's one of our questions on our comments questions. Let me go to that question. I'm going to go to our last question. I think this guy says this is Bike 22. Why do you guys like KTM so much? Honest curiosity, he says. Now I get a lot of kind of guys that are hate on KTM bikes.
Yeah.
And I don't totally understand it. And this is previous to even the financial problems. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about guys that, especially I think a lot in the Midwest or whatever, they're used to their Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki dealerships, whatever they're used to, right? And then they see the KTMs, there's these, oddball brands or whatever. I don't know. But I get a lot of hate on KTM bikes. Now, KTM's not perfect, but I will say the engine components as a whole compared to other bikes. Now, there's been a few glitches here and there, but as a whole, especially on the 4-strokes, is next level. I mean, I had a guy write me this morning, wanted to know, he was in check leak down on his engine. And I asked, what bike is it? It's a 21 Husky 450. How many hours you got? 26. I go, dude, pump the brakes. I go, until that thing gets hard to start, that would determine your valves need to be adjusted.
For sure.
So you're changing your oil, you're putting and not ever sucking dirt through your air filter, or when you change your air filter that you're making sure there's no dirt going in. If you don't suck dirt and you change your oil all the time, 150 hours, no problem on even a 250 size, 250, 350, 450 KTM, no problem. We have guys with 300 hours on stock top ends in 4-strokes on the KTM brand bikes. Now, that's something that you can't get away with typically on the Japanese bikes. Now, they've changed some of their rod designs, like Kawasaki just went to the similar plain rod design plain bearing design as the KTM bikes. So some of those bikes, a lot of the bike manufacturers are seeing that and changing some stuff. But as far as the quality of the engine components, that's the main reason.
So I think that though you have the benefit of, we were both Honda guys. Right. And so now I think that, I used to be a Chevy guy. I'm not a guy anymore. Whatever I think is best at this point, that's what I'm going to get.
And best for you.
Best for me. I don't have where I have to have a KTM I'm with you. I have KTMs because I like the components.
And there's two more reasons that I like the KTMs is that they fill voids.
Absolutely.
That's one of the reasons that got us into it. They made 100%. A KTM 200 that Spencer got. Okay, that really got us into it. Then they made off-road bikes that no one else made. Yep. And right now they make a 350 XCF. You and I have said over and over, if Yamaha made a 350 FX, we would probably be signing up.
You've had many of these, which bike is best and this and that and the other. There is no doubt in my mind if the other person that lives in this house with me said you have to get rid of all bikes except for one, I'd keep the XCF.
The 350 XCF. You and I have said that this is the best all-around bike because you can trail ride with it. Awesome at the track.
Yep.
You and I have even argued you have a 350 SXF and you prefer riding your XCF most of the time at the track.
Yep.
Yeah. And the 25 is that much better. So that's what I'll say to these guys that think we're like KTM lovers or whatever. I enjoy other bikes, Hondas and Yamahas, and I wish.
Yeah, because Yamaha 250, you're all about it.
It's incredible. And I like the Honda 250, just some things I'd like to get better on it, right? And I feel
first year problems.
Yeah. But the KTM 250F, I built one of those with Rado. You remember that bike? And that bike's awesome. I have a 23 version of that. And it's not even the newest generation. It's a 23.
And you have a video that just came out with Luke.
Yeah, on one of those as well. So number 49 is his. Mine was 33. Very similar looking graphics. Yep. And so those are some videos you can check out. I have one on my channel with Luke's bike, and then there's one on Rado's channel with those. So we'll have those links in the show description.
Yeah, but I'm with you. It's like, it just appears that you're a KTM guy, but it's like they're filling a void for us.
Right. And so the big thing is durability. If I'm going to own a bike and keep it long term, its durability is a big problem and big factor. Now, there's little things on like that guy's bike when I ride him back. It's, hey, your fuel pump's going to go out before your engine needs any help. So fuel pump, little quirks they had. His starter button will probably end up failing before anything like that. So little stuff, and then mess with your suspension, enjoy your suspension, save the money on the engine. That's what I tell these guys. So hopefully that helps out a bunch. You were talking about our videos. We have some really cool videos. Hey, before we get there, I do want to ask for some help. There's two things. First one, a YZ125. I have photos that you can put up right now. 1986 YZ125 comes stock with a Mikuni carburetor that's kind of a weird carb.
The bike was red and white.
Yeah, and we built this thing with Ping. It's all done, except we can't get the carburetor rebuilt. Can't buy a bowl gasket, dude.
What?
Can't. So if anybody has any elites, we don't want to have to. So our solution is like everybody's like, well, you got to put a different carb on. There's no other carbs that just go right on. We'd have to make adapters because the carburetor's really long.
Is that an O-ring or a gasket?
It's short. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's long. Yeah, the carburetor is longer. It's just an O-ring in the bowl, and the Yamaha part number is gone. We're going to do some searching. So if anybody has any ideas on this 1986 YZ125 carburetor, you can see the picture right here of the carburetor. If you have any ideas, you can email me and try to help us out.
I mean, what about actually just getting a regular O-ring that could fit? Just find different lengths and kind of glue it in.
I think it'd be I think if you have a tiny gap, like where they meet.
Yeah.
And it's got those little jagged outs.
Yeah. No, I'm saying get a round one and keep it in different sizes of round ones and put it in there and see if it can
but on the bowl though, it doesn't just go around straight. It has a little divot thing that'd be really impossible to. I think it'd be tough. So that's one. The next one is I am thinking about getting a van. And so if any of you guys are out there, if they have a good used van, I'm looking for, but I think I really want a Ford.
The Transit.
Yeah, mainly because unlike you, I can't afford to go to the Mercedes dealership or to the soup Nazi, I call them, the Mercedes guys. Yeah. So I want to be able to just work on it with regular guys, and just, so that's why I'm looking to get the Ford.
You can buy my van.
Yeah. So if anybody, you're not going to sell your van, dude. You're just teasing me. So anyway, if anybody's got any leads out there at a Ford, on a new Ford, one with this extended long turbo, all that.
I have a buddy that's a fleet manager at Yuma. Yeah, and he'll give you a good deal.
Okay. So our biggest problem is finding anything that's not. I really prefer not to have white unless it was used and I got a great deal.
Yeah.
So like a gray or silver.
You could do a full wrap on it.
I don't want to do wraps because they're terrible. You know what happens to wraps in Southern California?
They come apart.
2 years.
It's terrible.
They're just baked on and ruined.
And they're expensive.
Hey, Webb just won, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody already knew that. That was last week's or 2 weeks ago races. So those are things we could use help on. Also, hey, Rado did a video, and we have a link on. We have run a bunch of photos on that XR 400 build we did with my buddy Rich. How cool! This bike. You got photos for you to put up right now. This bike just looks amazing.
I think it really looks cool.
It popped off because there's the motor's so visible, and then Sano Metal Finishing, who's no longer going, Chris, he Cerakoted all these pieces, and there's no radiator shrouds or radiators to block their view of the engine. So you just see the engine so well. Spec bolt all pops off, all that. It was a great project. Brad Parapros helped us with the engine build. We got Weisco. Just really cool. We went through this whole thing, and you know what's crazy is those are some of the highest. The video that Rado did really well. He was really impressed with the bike. Like he'd never ridden one before, because he got into this later. And so he just loved, you put it in first gear, just crawling up a hill, not touching the clutch at all. It would just like keep going up this hill without doing anything, like almost idling up,
Yeah.
So he just loved it. There's a good cult following for XR 400s. The one downside I would say is that even with all the work we did, it's not worth anymore. They're still not worth a whole lot.
There's also one other problem with that bike.
You got to kickstart it.
You got to kick it.
Right.
And those things had the automatic compression release, and they were weird to kick.
With your hand. Yeah. So my buddy and Brad taught him the system. Brad had a really good system of how to do it. And I shot a video of my guy doing it, and then I sent it to Rado for, hey, when you're going to start it, you follow this system. And he would actually kick it, and he would let go of the decomp as he was kicking or something. He had a fun. I got a bad right knee and left knee and everything else. So I'm like, I'm not kicking it, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not doing it. Kicking a 2-stroke is enough. I'm not going to risk any type of like kickback or any problems. So anyway, check out that XR 400 video. We'll have links in here. It's really cool. We also did an ODI grip install video, which sounds simple enough, but if you have some oddball bikes, mini bikes or some old bikes, we give you some tips on finding the right cam for your ODI throttle grip. That's important because the kits only come with I think it's 5 or 7 cams. They can't send you 15. Okay, they're losing money, obviously, with the extra cams, right?
Yeah.
And they can't have one kit for every bike of grip, every color combination. It'd be a disaster, right?
Yeah.
So if you have now one thing that's really cool. If you use our link and go to Rocky Mountain and you put in your bike, like say it's a KX85 or 65 or a YZ65, some of these bikes that don't come with the cam on Rocky Mountain's site, they put the cam in there.
Oh, they do.
They do. So if you look up your bike, boom, they add the correct cam. So it's pretty rad.
Yeah, that is cool.
So it's really cool. So in the video, I talk about that and show that. So we have a cool video on that. And then also, if you put ODI grips on, say, some other brand of bars that aren't ODI, we talk about how to file down or sand down the knurling, on that left side grip, because some of them have some real tall knurling, and that's to keep the glue-on grip from turning as much. Well, I've seen guys who will try to hammer on the grip and they ruin the grip. You got to get that knurling off. So we have some tips on that in the video as well. And then also the big news, we did a video with Chris Puffer's YZ250. Everybody loves 2-strokes, and they love Yamaha 2-strokes, YZ250. So we'll talk about that later. That's one of the bike choices I give a guy later. But we got some really cool dirt bike tests, and you know some of the guys over there. And and Trevor tested that YZ250 and loved it. Got a great video on that on their channel, and it's on our website. If you go to our website, it's up there right now. So we got a cool one there.
Okay, now it's tech questions time.
Okay, we had a little technical difficulty there with my
we got it sorted out.
Yeah. So the one I got first is from Jonathan B. And he says, this one's not even on your list, Donnie. I just got it right here.
Gotcha.
I get a lot of guys that write me about what bike to buy. And I'm totally fine helping guys with bikes, with finding their bikes.
Do you have like a little questionnaire for them?
Yeah, because sometimes the guys will just, what should I buy? And I'm like, man, you got to give me some info.
Yeah.
First of all, what your budget is.
How long you been riding?
Where are you riding? Where do you ride? What do you want? What do you want to do? So it's just easy. So it's really tough. I get this guy says, I wanted to run a question by you. I have an opportunity to purchase a 2013 YZ250F or a 2016 RMZ 250. I've had a 15 YZ250F, sounds like in the past, and enjoyed it very much. I do mainly trail ride Which would you recommend would be best for trail riding? I weigh 220 pounds. Okay.
Ooh, boy.
Neither one is what I said.
That XR 400.
I said neither. That's a good option. I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
One is great for trail riding. Kickstart 4-strokes kind of suck on trails, and carbs suck to keep up on. And 250Fs are underpowered for trails. That's another problem. Is 250Fs are not enough.
I already know the bike you're going to say.
For much trail situations.
I know the bike.
We'll see if we get there.
Okay.
However, I understand this is your budget. I'm guessing this is in your budget range. He didn't tell me a price, but if it was me, I'd be looking at this budget range. I would go YZ250 two-stroke for many reasons, and the main reasons on that YZ250 two-stroke is because the budget he's talking about for these two older bikes, this 13 YZ250F, I'm guessing these are $2,500 bikes.
$2,500.
Okay, these are $2,500 bikes range. These bikes are gonna fail. These 4-strokes, the Suzuki and that Yamaha, they're gonna eventually fail. The carburetor on that YZ250F, you got to really stay on that. Now, there's no way it's correct after this long. After 12, 13 years, that carb needs to go to Brad. You're spending $150 in that carb to get it good, and that's what you need to do. And then you still have to worry about the thing going away. Okay. So with a YZ250 two-stroke, you can fix that thing yourself. So that's a nice, easy advantage.
He's trail riding. You put a countershaft weight, or you put a weight on it, and
you're good.
You're good.
So I talked about the RMZs, fuel injected for a long-term durability is not great, and then the YZ250F, again, it's heavy and slow, and the carb is hard to get dialed in perfectly, and so that's why I go that way. And then I had another guy just wrote me just yesterday. Says it was a similar deal. He says he had a $4,000 budget. And he wanted a fun bike to ride with his kids. He'd had a 250X in the past, a CRF 250X. And at that $4,000, I said, you're kind of looking at a 250X or a YZ250 two-stroke, those two bikes. Now he did, which was cool, because he really lives in Southern California, he found a 2018 350 SXF, local here in Southern California, for $3,800. He sent me the ad.
Goodness.
Now, I pumped the brakes on this because you don't always know. If it's legit, like,
right.
Does he got a title? Does he sound like a scammer? Has he owned it the whole time? You want to see that it's taken care of. But on the surface, it was 128 hours on the bike for $3,800. I wouldn't be scared of taking it myself, especially if you're just playing riding. You're not, hitting the national circuit. You're not doing Supercross, whatever, right? You're riding with your kid. That's what he was doing.
You want to make sure that the tire is worn out evenly and not just in the center like the wheelie guys. Yeah.
So one thing I tell guys, if they're out west and if they have any connections to family or friends in Southern California, that's a great place to look for good deals on bikes, especially in the summertime. You can find a lot better deals on bikes out west here. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that not a lot of people have the cash, so they're all just I'll just go finance a bike, and so they're not going to pay for the used bikes.
I wonder if there's another place, like if Florida has this many bikes, or if it's.
I'd be interested. I could look sometime, huh?
Yeah, we got to see because where else would there be? Florida, Texas, maybe those two places.
Let's do some YouTube comments, man.
Let's go.
You ready?
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay. It says the best old guy dual sport. Jake Lowe 3416 commented, nice seeing Grant Langston again. Used to follow his career in South Africa.
How cool is that? So we have a really cool video on dual sports, and we use Donnie's 500 as the photo bike for that, and Grant just ripped that thing around. And actually the same day he was on that 890.
Dude, but both bikes, either one, I mean, he rides both of them like he didn't even think about it.
It's so cool. All right, so the next one's from Lee Bryce Boost. No wonder my tubes always bust there. I always tighten the nut down to the rim. And this is on our little video. We did a short talking about we don't tighten the nut all the way down on the rim. So that's important to do. So what's your next one? You got a photo, I think.
Yeah, Steve Jobs once said, when fishermen cannot go to the sea, they repair nets. In simple terms, even if you're not doing your main thing, always do something which relates to your main thing.
This is my life. Now, I do work in my main thing.
Yeah.
But like you, even though you haven't been riding, well, I don't want to make you feel any worse, the 32-1.
Yep.
But you're cleaning your shop. You get your bikes organized.
I actually started rearranging my toolbox. And everything. I was just like going nuts.
So you're doing stuff for your main thing that you enjoy doing, even when you can't do it.
Yeah.
So you're doing stuff to get ready. I like that.
Yeah.
So that's a cool. Who knows if he really said it? That's one thing about the internets. You don't know for sure. But anyway,
bunch of liar to the peoples.
Right. Mm-hmm. This is our off-road 250 is good with our YZ250 FX. Jay, when you're riding in the backcountry of the track and praising it, had you changed any of the springs for your weight? If not, what do you weigh for the evaluation?
Oh boy,
none yet.
Oh boy, this is worse than asking a female what they weigh.
People laugh because I have been losing some weight, and go, wait, how much have you lost? I go, I got no idea.
Yeah,
I never weighed when I was getting huge, and then as I've lost weight, I still
you didn't want to depress yourself.
Didn't want to know then,
and then you would still depress yourself because how did I get there?
And then when you lose weight, then the problem is you lose weight, and then if you check in a week or in a day and you gained a half a pound or whatever, you're all depressed. So you just, I say every time
they say you're supposed to weigh yourself once a week.
Right, I could see that being better. Yes.
Yeah, because even if you made a few little, if you made some gain, but if you're doing it every day, that's
depressing.
That's going to be depressing.
Okay, but yes, so the YZ250FX has a wide range. Rado, I know is well over 200 pounds, like 210, 220. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's pretty big because he's iron.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got that Eastern Bloc strength.
Right. So works well for him. It's got a pretty range of capability with a stock suspension. I'm pretty happy with it. So I think it's good for a guy in the, let's say 170 to 200. I'm guessing if a kid's light, I think it's going to probably need lighter springs yet.
Probably be a little too stiff.
Right.
All right.
But great bike though. We love that bike.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
All right.
Sonic Power 687 on the Chain Slack dirt bike. He said, I never realized how important chain slack was until I owned a dirt bike. What a pain in the arse these chains can be. Yeah,
I don't know. To me, it's just part of it, right?
Did you hear somebody, was it Gypsy Tales asking like if guys could tighten their own chain on their bike?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Especially to the extent that they would trust it going out on the supercross track.
Well, like the rest of us in this world have no choice.
Right. But you grow up the whole time with somebody doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I just think it's normal. Our proper chain care is like a multi-purpose lube. Do I have one up here?
Well,
I don't think I have one over here right now. But just like Blaster has a multi-purpose lube. This one's for like soaking rusted nuts and bolts. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they have one that's just, so we'll do that after we wash. You know, blow the chain off with air first, and then we'll wash.
Some type of water displacement or something else like that.
And then oil or a non-sticky chain lube is best. And keep on it. And then to keep it adjusted properly. The main problem is if it's too loose, it's really wearing out way sooner. But you don't want it too tight, you're going to break something bad. All right. Okay. Next one is from Felix Vlogus. This is the most, he says, bad word, but he says, crap vid, guys talking faster than Eminem.
He's talking about you.
Yeah.
He don't like you because you're moving along.
It was a tire change video, and I was jamming through. Now, I do have multiple tire change videos. There's one for a beginner that I try to go very slow. This is a problem, though, to go slow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, it's actually like more dangerous to ride slow on the track than at your speed.
Right. Especially on the sandier tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. All right.
All right. Nobby Side Down 427 on the Destroyer video. Great show, fellas. Thoughts on the AT81EX for more technical trail riding?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
That's what Donnie used in our Green River area trip.
Yep.
Yeah. So just amazing. You just get this ultimate grip. What I tell people is they don't last a long time. Okay. But they last a lot longer than you might.
That wasn't my worry.
Right. And they last a lot longer than you might think. And you can wear them down to like quarter knob and they still work good.
But you have another point.
Mm-hmm.
We went from here to Utah to go ride.
Right.
And it's like when you go on any other type of vacation, you have to rent a car and you have to go through these things to make your life more fun.
Yeah.
Listen, like if you can spoil yourself on a couple of good rides a year, throw the $150 at the tire and really make your experience amazing.
And I think it's only $120, but
whatever. I'm just saying.
Let's say it's $40 more than a cheap tire.
Yeah.
That doesn't work as good, or just a knobby that's just going to last longer. Here's the deal. Guys will go, oh, it costs too much. What does a broken wrist cost?
Right.
What's a fall? So I feel like personally that in those tough riding conditions, it usually saves me. Just the tire alone, I feel like saves me 1 to 3 times a ride trip on a day. 1 to 3 times. I feel like I don't fall because I got grip up something. And so what's that worth?
What's that worth?
That's almost priceless.
The grip is amazing.
Right.
Actually, you couldn't be more spot on. It pulls you out of situations where a normal knobby wouldn't.
It makes you a 20% better trail rider in those tough, tight conditions he's talking about. It makes you a little bit better so you can grip and get up something. So to me, if it saves a fall, it's worth it just in that alone.
Yep.
All right. Next one. Who do we got here? Oh, John Maldonado. I know this guy.
I know this guy.
This is a funny. He says, I asked if you were coming to the race, to race these GPs for years. You called me an egomaniac for needing to race. Now look at you. I want to apologize. Well, he says, I want an apology. So I didn't race for real. I just wanted to ride the track, and that NGPC does a great job running that race, but that Blythe track was awesome. So that was my main thing in going. So that's where I come from.
All right, Steve Douglas on the New Yorker Groove show 28. Mm-hmm. Jay, you should do a show about the crazy Tampa SX. Love all your content on YouTube and Instagram.
Yes, it would be fun if we could do it. I just don't think that neither one of us have the time and ability to do a show every Saturday night or Sunday morning, right?
Yeah.
To recap the race. There are plenty of good guys out there doing it.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't ever commit to doing it. But it would be fun. I think guys like it. It would be fun to do. I just don't think we could commit to the time.
Maybe we could do like a year-end recap.
Yeah. I lose track.
Yeah.
Okay. Z Chili. Donnie doesn't get enough love in the comment section. You the man, Donnie.
I'm finally the man.
So are you Z Chili or is that your wife?
No, I'm neither one.
All right. So the next one, what do we got here? This photo. I did a screenshot from Instagram.
Yeah. Of Crash. No. Racer X. Vince Freeze is your 2024 25 AMA Arena Cross champ.
Yeah, what do you think of that? He's a champion.
I think
here's why I did this. You're gonna love this. I went to the comments as soon as I saw this.
Oh my goodness.
I saw this and then I went to the comments, and I've never seen anything that's 100 to 1 bad to good comments like this. They just roasted him. In the photo, you see the photo up here? His arm is like right in front of the trophy girl.
Yeah.
One of the comments straight away, one of the first comments, Vince takes out trophy girl on stage.
It's actually pretty accurate.
Anyway, the comments are just brutal, and they just light him up for going to Arena Cross and winning. And
what do you think? Do you think I don't want to say those because those guys are really good, but did he go down to the intermediate class?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but they got a championship. So Moto Concepts and Honda, I don't know if they care. I don't know. But
yeah.
But I don't know that he's got a ton of fans. I think he's really alienated himself.
Well, he's I mean, look, at San Diego when Tomac won, if you see that shot, he would not move out of Tomac's way, and Tomac almost fell.
And you know what's funny is we've never had in our sport journeyman guys, we'll call them journeymen, who have been in here for 10 to 15 years. Like Vince Freeze is a long time now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's no journeyman guys that typically no one likes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't really have an opinion.
It's typically the older guys everybody loves.
Everybody loves them. At the end of their career, if they've just made it through with Nicoletti, with any of them, even Weston Pike had gone to a bunch of teams. So they're journeymen like
Chisholm.
privateer guys. Chisholm, guys love him. He's almost 20 years of starts, right?
Yeah.
He just broke McGrath's start record in Supercross.
174 or something
Of the number of starts in mains. That's what it was. It was main event starts.
Right.
So it's a pretty cool stat. Like you made a lot of 450 mains. Like
What's his start to win ratio compared to McGrath?
No, not as good.
Not as good.
But
all right.
McGrath won like 40% of his 45%.
45% or something.
If he did 72, 45% or something of his races.
Yeah, almost half. I mean, not half, but it's getting closer to half.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. But he probably could have won a few more of those ones that just got away.
Yeah.
Flat tire or whatever, right? Like,
yep.
So,
but I think you're right. I don't, people,
it's weird, right? Because, I mean, in our sport, like Dean Wilson and different guys who if you just survive and you're around for 10 to 15 years or 15 to 20, if you're around for a long time, everybody starts to like you.
I think there's a reason for that. I think there's the obvious reason, right? But I think that I have 80-20 rule. Everybody that buys bikes are vets. Either they're buying them for their kids,
right,
or for themselves.
Right.
So then I don't want to say that you associate with that guy, but you're like, this guy's in the vet class essentially, and he's up here still doing it. And even if you kind of weren't a fan before, people become fans of that.
Yeah. And I think I shifted. Even myself would notice, like when Wyndham, I was always a Wyndham fan, I guess.
Me too, yeah.
But as guys got older, you just became even more of a fan.
I don't want to say I wasn't a Reed fan, but I was more of a Carmichael fan, right? And as soon as I'm like, man, this guy's awesome now.
Yeah.
Like you see him lasting longer.
And what about LaRocco? Guy who didn't have that many fans? Really? But then the longer he went, he got more fans by being around a long time.
Yep.
And people liked and appreciated it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Vince doesn't have that, unfortunately.
No, he doesn't.
Right. So we got Jerry Longlini. Great video. This is on our must-have dirt bike tools for your shop. We have a video that shows you all the tools we use in our shop. Great video with good information. Jay, have you ever done a video with what tools you take on the trail? Actually, what you carry on your ride and what you'd leave in the trailer. So a good thing for this is Dirt Bike Test. Jimmy Lewis, they have some good stuff on this. We don't take very much stuff. I tell guys, I carry enough extra weight. I don't want to carry any more. And I feel like I would always guess wrong anyway. So we take some minimal stuff. We take a toe strap. So if we had to tow somebody, we have a toe strap, and we have a Motion Pro has a really nice a little T-handle with an 8, 10, 12. And then I got some little light wrenches, and I got a few bolts, some zip ties.
But you don't bring a tube.
No tube. No, we're riding back. We got those big zip ties to put around the tire.
Yep.
We've only done that.
I used to bring a front tube with me.
Yeah.
And that little CO2 bottle.
CO2 thing.
Yeah, but always a front tube, right? So
just too much hassle. And I'm like, the few times, I mean, honestly, we go once a year max, and it's usually once every 2 years range max that we get a flat. And we do run a rear moose now and then a little bit more often. So that's something there. So anyway.
Okay, from It's Just Weezer Brakeline Yamaha video. It's easy to tell who the real mechanics are. Thanks, Jay, for being a mechanic and learning the kinds of cool stuff. Subscriber for life.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you. That's really nice. We have lots of good different brake videos and tips for you. Okay, so we got Cherry Brewster. Aren't you on a different video? About 14 or 15 reasons why 2-strokes are better. This is on my why 4-strokes are better. So I have a video on why 4-strokes are better and why 2-strokes are better. And of course, the why 2-strokes are better is more popular of the two videos. But I can give you many arguments, 10 arguments either way pretty easily. So
it's really, really one of those we can agree to disagree.
Right.
Because there's so many, whatever. Don't you have why the MX is better than trail riding, why trail riding is better than MX too?
Yes.
Okay.
So we did the same thing with trail riding, why trail riding is better and why motocross is better.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's 4 videos that contradict each other, and it's still fun.
All right. Kula Deluxe comment on the must-know dirt bike hacks and tips. Fantastic information flow. Learned a lot.
There's not a week that goes by we don't get a good comment on that video. And I've said it every show.
Did you ever get negative comments about it?
No, everybody loves that one. So it's a good one. It's got a few 100,000 views. Everybody really likes that one. So if you have a family friend or anybody or a mechanic or a buddy you ride with who's a terrible mechanic, doesn't know how to do anything, send him that video. Send him the link.
There you go.
All right, Blake. Bayake 22. Why do people support KTM? We already went over this. That's our. Oh no, this is different. He says, why do people support KTM? Seems an obvious sellout company, bought up by investor company and run into the ground. Can't imagine parts will be available in 10 years. I just highly doubt this. We've talked about this. I don't see how.
I don't understand. Sorry, let me put my hand up. I never understand the phrase sellout. What does that mean? It's like, you mean I want to make some money and there's a problem with that?
No, they made some bad choices. We aren't going to get beyond that because they never should have gotten this position.
That's bad choices.
But as far as the bikes, and we talked about this before, just about every car manufacturer has been bailed out at one time, right?
100%.
Okay.
More than once.
Almost all of them that I know of, I don't know about some of the Japanese ones, but most of the European ones, about all the American ones have all been bailed out and helped and rebuilt. And you can still go buy parts for your 10, 20, 30-year-old Chevy truck from Chevy if you want, or let alone from aftermarket, right?
Yeah.
But you can still go buy parts for your 30-year-old Chevy truck.
They still make money. It's just bad decisions.
Right. So,
and by the way, did you see that the court in Austria, they came to a decision and they have now restructured and they're moving forward. So they came with a deal.
That's awesome. And I heard they're going to start producing bikes soon again.
Yeah, they said March.
Okay. Yeah. So what that also means is we're probably not going to see the early bikes like we typically do from KTM.
Right.
Like the 26 models, where I think it's safe to assume, I'm guessing, there are not going to be any changes.
Probably not.
I would think not.
No.
Okay. I don't think we're going to see changes on the 26. If there was changes in motion, my guess is they're probably going to pause, get through all these parts and bikes, and the 26s will have some cool graphics. Differences is my guess. Yeah, that's my guess. I don't know anything any more than anyone else, right? But that's my guess. And then those bikes have been in the past showing up in June and July, the latest.
Yeah.
My guess is they show up later if they're not building these till March. When these things are going to show up at the end of summer at the soonest, right?
Yeah.
The motocross bikes.
Yeah, I don't know if they already had something in the works.
I can't see them starting building in March and what happens. And do they really fill the motocross bikes straight away when there's probably tons of them in the pipeline here for sale?
This is true.
Didn't
they have a lot of sales on stuff and kind of got rid of stuff though?
Yeah, so we'll see. But the dealers I've been by have a lot of bikes. That St. George Rock, I stopped in there the other day where you get your ticket.
Yeah.
And they have tons of bikes for sale, all brands.
Yeah.
Every Austrian brand.
I go to GL shop and there's bikes in there.
Tons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. At 066 Motocross on the static wheel balancing, he said, thanks. I thought this was a complicated process, but you taught me otherwise. Very good information video. Just like all your other videos, I could watch and learn from you every day.
This is what my son says and my wife. And my daughter, no, sorry, I don't get this everywhere else.
I don't think so.
So this is nice that he builds up my ego, but I'm glad we could help a little bit. And that's what we're trying to do with some videos for guys to show you some stuff is a little easier than you think. Moto Toad 1242. This looks like a free-form map on MX versus ATV reflex. This is on my best trail day ever in the snow riding.
Yeah.
Up there in the desert. And that's what he says. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty cool. Like that it's a mythical thing.
Yeah. At Steve Casillo wants to know on the best trail ride ever. He's curious where this place is.
Yeah, we already addressed that.
Yeah. Sorry,
Donnie
Steve.
says Nunya.
Sorry, Steve.
Okay, Toby Wakanabe says, did he say the updated plastics do the 25 plastics fit the 23? Yes, you can run your 25 plastics on your 23 KTM bike. Yep. I think even the Husky too. So the shrouds are just a tiny bit different. There's not a whole lot of other real differences out there.
Okay. Perkaski wants to say double tubing your tire. Would there be any issue with overheating on highways, higher speeds, etc.?
Yes, I would think we do double tube. We like that. I think it's a great option for trail riders, a lot less expensive than mooses or other systems. So running a double tube is a great option for guys. If you're riding high speeds on the highways, I assume you're not really in those technical conditions that you'd need it. I haven't tested it myself. I would assume it could create a lot of heat and slippage, so I probably wouldn't do it.
You could probably put extra powder in there too, maybe.
But I just, if you're doing a lot of high speed highway stuff, I just don't see the need to have a double tube.
Okay.
There you go. All right. I think that's it, right? On our YouTube. Now, so let's do a couple tech ones, right?
Yeah. Let's do a couple tech. Hey, Sean M. Hey Jay, love your content. Couldn't find any recommendation on chains though. Just need a new chain for my YZ250 two-stroke. Nothing crazy. Hoping for a couple of recommendations.
Okay, so chains, most of the good chains are made in Japan. Pro X has a really good chain. Just a regular non-O-ring chain. That's an MX chain is great. Okay, but I tell most guys an X-ring chain is going to be more durable and last longer. It has really thin O-rings. And then you can get a full. The next step above those two would be a full O-ring chain, which you have 3 options. If it was me and I'm dual sporting a bunch, I'd run a full O-ring chain on that. 350 XCF trail riding 4-stroke, I would run the X-ring chain. 250 motocross bike, you'd be fine with a regular gold chain like the Pro X has. So
yeah,
that helps you out. All right. So next one is Bert. Hi Jay, I got a 23 KTM 350 SXF. I'm looking to convert from air forks to spring. Now, right away, this is one of the only downsides when I talk about how great KTM is. The last 5 years, since 2017, we've been dealing with air forks on motocross bikes. And it does kind of suck. They are pretty dang good, but they're not as good as a stock Yamaha fork. Like, right? Simple.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not as good. So that's just one thing I wish KTM would fix, is that they would come. Now, the 24 and 25 KTM 350 XCF comes with this closed cartridge fork that's just amazing. Amazing stock. It's good. And we just redid it, and we actually had that bike out. Spencer and I were out. Oh, when I did that trail trip, the snowy, amazing day, and I hopped on to even the Yamaha after riding that bike with the 24 stock forks that are redone, and it was amazing. It was better than the Yamaha. So good. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll say is they have good forks. They know what to do, but unfortunately, all the motocross bikes from 17 to now all come with air forks. So he said, I race vet class and looking at the Race Tech single spring conversion kit, which is a single spring, as well as the MX Tech Lucky carbon cartridge kit, which is a better system. Any suggestions? Unfortunately, I don't know which one's exactly a best solution because I've never run that Lucky one. I have heard people do it. They're back east. I've heard good things. I don't know enough about it. The single spring
spring on that.
On the Race Tech one has been really good. We like that. Set up by Race Tech. That's been a great one. The KYB conversion's been good as well. That's more expensive. And the 6500 kit, which is on the bike behind you, Donnie, that one's been really good. So there's tons of really good options. Unfortunately, they all cost a lot of money. The single spring Race Tech one is the least expensive option, but unfortunately, they're a lot of money.
I still feel like I don't want to, because Race Tech set both of my KYB up and I don't know why. I just feel like the KYB is slightly better.
Right. You get 2 springs.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's when you have one spring, it's a really high, stiff spring rate.
Yeah.
And so they've explained it to me that how that works versus 2 springs that are lesser spring rate, right?
Yeah.
And the way it affects the way the bike handles and so forth, because obviously the spring's just on one side of the bike.
I think, though, that if I didn't have the KYB, I wouldn't know that that was better, if that makes sense. It's like the Race Tech singles work so good.
Yeah.
All right. Daniel M. said he just greased my linkage and my swing arm bearings for the first time ever. Wow. Wondering if this should be a routine thing and how often would be best.
Yes, it should be routine, and I think it all depends on how often you're washing your bike or riding in watery conditions. That's a big factor. And if you're blowing your bike off after, but I would say for the average guy, like if you live out west by us and you're riding once or twice a month, you could probably go 2 years. If you grease it really good, grease everything really good, you could go like 2 years. If you're riding back east, and even say you're only riding a 7-8 month season, but you're riding 2 or 3 times a month, maybe once a week, because you're trying to get all that riding in, you live back east, and you're in muddy conditions, you're washing it a lot because it's muddy, you got to get all that mud off your bike. I would probably doing it once a year, for sure.
But like you said, really doing it right out of the gate is the most important thing.
Right.
Straight away.
Doing that bike new. Okay. Then we got Arnaud M. Hi, Jay. Love your, we love how your how-to videos. They have helped my kids and myself be better and more efficient at maintenance. I do have an issue with my son's CRF 125L. We have one of those.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, it was mine.
Yep. I put new tires on at the beginning of the season, which I'm going to do soon. I haven't done them. I got tires for it finally. Okay. Same size as OEM. I have noticed the valve stems are crooked in the wheel, front and rear, which they were not when I installed them. Could the tire be rotating in the wheel? These unfortunately do not have bead lockers. What would you recommend to prevent this issue? It needs bead lockers.
Yeah, just put them
bead
in.
locks. Yeah, so you have to put rim locks in, is what we call them. So you can do it. Just kind of, you can find a good spot. It is difficult on these smaller bikes with rims that aren't designed for it, but
And those are steel wheels.
steel wheels. So you got to, when you have the tire off, you can drill a hole, and it's gonna be like a 1.6 is the size of rim lock that you could use, and you get a rim lock on there, and that will help a ton. Now,
So that has to be moving from braking, right?
yeah, typically. And if he's riding on very hard pack, he could get the rear to shift a little bit on the rear, but usually it's braking on the front for sure. So, I would recommend the bead locks, the rim locks, but I don't know if it's even that critical. If it moves, the Honda has a really big, they put that rubber gasket there at the valve stem.
Yep.
And that allows it to move. We have videos showing you how to tighten a nut on there. Take the rubber piece off, tighten a nut. This is how you do it. Tighten the nut up, let the air out completely with the valve stem out, and then tighten up the nut all the way, fill it up with air. That'll move the tube straight again. You can make it straight like that. Do that process like twice, and then that'll line it up. And so that's a big help. And if it keeps on doing it and it's driving you crazy, put the rim lock on.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right.
All right, Luke C. Hi, Jay. I hope this email finds you well. I hope it does too. I've had the pleasure of chatting with you a few times on Instagram and have been a big fan of your YouTube content. I find your insight and experiences incredibly valuable. I'm writing you today because I'm in the early stages of planning a trip for the two-stroke MX Nationals at Glen Helen next year. Since you're well-versed in this area, I was hoping you could provide some guidance. First and foremost, I'd like to know which airport is closest to Glen Helen track. It'll be a long journey from Dublin to Ireland, so any advice on this most convenient airport to fly into would be much appreciated.
Okay, so I get questions about this a lot of guys want to come out and ride in Southern California, not just for a race, but to ride. One of the problems we run into is there's a few, but to help this guy with his question, one of the things I would do is hook up with a company like Factory MX Vacations, what Luke Santos runs. Even if you just partner up with him on some of he does little services a la carte, whether it's the bike rental, so forth. So that's somebody I would hook up with. It's going to be way cheaper to fly into LAX, but you have to do the math on when you land and deal with traffic and all those types of things, because traffic can be horrendous. So you want to leave LA by 1 in the afternoon, and you if you have a flight in the morning, you'd be staying at a hotel right next to the airport, because if you stay out by Glen Helen, it's tough. A lot of people look up Glen Helen and they see San Bernardino, and they want to stay in San Bernardino. And we say no to staying in San Bernardino. So you can stay in Ontario.
Not if you like your wallet.
Right. Sorry. So you can stay in Ontario area, Rancho Cucamonga, Corona. You can stay in some of those areas, and then you're good access to the tracks to the south and areas if you wanted to go down to Kuya or Apala, those types of things. So those are some areas to stay. I had a guy write me from, I think it was from Idaho. He's going to bring his son out and go do some riding this winter. He's going to come in the next few weeks, and he wanted to meet up. He's describing it all, and I said, you talk about where he's going to stay. He doesn't have a situation, and he's going to be in after we cruised a little bit, I'm like, he's just going to stay in San Bernardino, close to the track area. I'm like, well, I go, because even if you have your stuff in a trailer,
Don't matter.
yeah, trailers going to be gone in the morning.
Yep.
So you have to have a system. This is an unfortunate reality of Southern California, and especially in these places. I would not travel from out of state. And I know a guy that they stayed in Moreno Valley overnight. They go back to Arizona after a race, and the trailer was gone in the morning. His
Yep.
truck was there. Trailer was gone. They got systems for everything. It's
Yep.
just terrible. So you have to assume that you're gonna get attempted to ripped
Yeah.
off. So that's where partnering with like this Factory MX Vacation, somewhere where you can leave your bikes overnight or whatever, something like that. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do it. People are going to ask me, but I don't have the facilities
don't
or
have the
ability
spot.
to get it. But there's people that would do it. If you're going to do something, I would do something like that to where you stay if you bring all your stuff and you're contained, you stay at the track. Most tracks will let you stay overnight.
Yeah.
You stay at the track or right next to the track, and you know you're not staying at a hotel. You know?
Definitely don't want to be staying at a hotel in San Bernardino.
Right, and even in
You'd be better off down here, Middle Temecula area.
right, but even then it can happen.
It can happen, but I
right.
think it's less likely
Right.
down here.
And I have tips for guys on, I disabled the truck, a fuse to your fuel pump or whatever. There's a fuse. Do things like that to protect yourself, right?
Man, I would put air tags. I put air tags on my bike.
Right.
You just do that kind of stuff too.
But anyway, you don't, so anyway, I tell guys, the Southern California thing's fun. So anyway, all right. So now my last one's kind of a funny one here. Keegan B., but he's pretty serious about this. I wrote him, I was a little bit pessimistic when I wrote him back, and he was all in. So hopefully, I'm hoping I get a cool photo from him soon that he accomplished this. Hello, I plan on doing a build here soon. I believe it's going to run into some issues fitting some parts together. He has an 04 RM125, and I'm going to build it to look like a modern RMZ 17 to 18, which is the same as the new one, pretty much. I plan on using an RMZ subframe to fit the correct number plates. Okay. And rear fender. I've heard an RM250 air boot will bolt directly up to the RMZ air box, but the RM125 air boot will not. Do you know if any RMZ air boot will fit the RM125 carb, or will I have to find or make an adapter to bolt on RM125 to the RMZ air box? If the adapter plate is something that already has been done, would you know where I can find one? And I was like, no.
Time out.
These bikes look cool. When you're dealing with 20-year-old bikes,
yeah,
they look cool. Just
right.
leave them. No, I did on my RM125 build we did that was just on the cover of MXA. We did cut the side plates because they were really tall.
Sure.
So we cut them on an angle that was kind of cooler with the silencer, and they did look cool.
Yeah.
That was it. That was real simple. My CRs are all the stock look plastic.
What's your middle name there?
Dream Crusher.
Dream Crusher.
So I did Dream Crush them. Now, I hope I'm proven wrong, but the only way I would tackle a project like this is if you had a bit of a boneyard of all these Suzuki parts. Like you have...
Well, and you really need somebody that has potentially gone through this type of thing before.
Yeah, because if you're going to go buy a subframe,
yeah,
okay, and air boots and stuff, and air boxes and stuff, just to do this, and I'm like, well, then your silencer's not going to line up in the right spot. So you have to weld onto this thing and put mounts.
You're going to have to weld mounts all over that thing.
Yeah. Like, it's a lot of work just to make it look modern. I'm like, you're not making it run any better. It's just to make it look cooler. And I get what you're trying to do. And he's going to have a problem with the seat base too. That's a whole other thing. The seat base and seat isn't going to line up. I was just like, so anyway, but he's not the only one. We get lots of people that ask about this kind of stuff.
What did we do with my KX500? We put the things
did we do anything? Oh yeah. Because so with him, like you could put a new style front fender and number plate. You could do that kind of stuff. Right. The front. That's it. All right. I got Pro X Read. Ready?
Go.
All right. Pro X Read. Maintenance and rebuilds are the less glamorous side of our sport, but that doesn't mean you have to be complicated and expensive. Pro X Racing Parts offers OEM or better quality components at a fair price for almost anything that wears out on your bike, from chains, sprockets, brakes, and bearings to pistons, connecting rods, clutches, and even filters. Find what you need at prox.com or wherever you like to buy parts, which would be our Rocky Mountain link if you like to buy parts. All right. So, last thing. CDs, Donnie.
CD time.
What do I have here, Donnie? Can you tell?
I think you have every Kiss CD of non-maked up.
What year did they start with no
80?
makeup? 83. Donnie, you're really disappointing me. Creatures of the Night was the 1982. Okay?
I'm sorry I don't live up to your expectations.
You profess to be this fan, but you're not really if you don't know this stuff.
Okay.
All right. I think Jim might know more.
Okay, he might.
All right. So one of the cool things when I dug all these out, so we have all the, from 83 until now of non-makeup time, which wasn't their glory years, but they actually made way more albums and sold. I don't know. I'd have to see. I think they probably sold more because it was way more albums, but I don't know. I'll have to look at that. How many albums they sold from 73 to 83.
Interesting.
To 82, let's say. So those 10 years, how many did they sell?
I think when they took the makeup off, they should have put it back on.
Right. And they did a couple times for shows and things like that. But the album that came out first was Lick It Up in 1983. And that probably is the best one.
It's a good album.
Okay, so it's a good album. The guitarist did not stay long. in here. And then it was Animalize, and Heaven's on Fire's on there. I'm not sure if there's much else that was incredible. Yeah, but good. The other one that's really cool is this MTV Unplugged. Everybody did these things. Oh,
yeah. So good.
So good, dude.
So good. That was a good one.
15 songs. Really good album to check out. Smashes, Thrashes, and Greatest Hits has a couple new songs on it. And you like how I have the CD, the ticket stub in there?
Yeah,
we can't do that anymore?
Nope.
So ticket stub, this was from which one is this? This one was at the Troubadour. How do you like that, dude? In Santa Monica Boulevard in 1992, sorry, getting my years mixed up. And then Hot in the Shade. Oh, this one right here, dude. Orange Pavilion.
Oh yeah.
This is Revenge album, is this 2000? Revenge or 92? So
that's a long way away from 2000.
Yeah. So do you remember some of the songs on Revenge? It's got Unholy, Take It Off.
Take It Off, I remember.
Tough Love, Spit, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, Domino, Heart of Chrome, Thou Shalt Not, Every Time I Look at You, Paralyzed, I Just Wanna, and then they have a car jam from Eric Carr before he passed.
Yep.
Okay, so I think these two are the best non-makeup albums.
Right.
Okay? I would say, because you got Crazy Nights and Asylum. Each one has like one good song on it, like hit song, let's say, so to speak, if there was such a thing.
Right.
Psycho Circus.
When's the last best of album that they came out? Because if they came out with a best of now,
no, I don't know that they do, and I think I might be missing that. And I don't know if they made one, but anyway, these are the two to check out if you're into Kiss, like modern time. This would be the two to check out. It would be Lick It Up and Revenge. Mm-hmm. And Revenge came out at a time when they were kind of getting back. I think that's why they called it Revenge. And it was a pretty hard album, but rock was pretty much dead right here. It was just, this is Nirvana time and
Pearl Jam. Yeah.
Deal. So
you can't talk about that negativity.
Right. Yeah, because we are all positive, and that's what this music is. And so this will be the last show talking about Kiss anymore. Okay, because it's our third show in a row. We did Makeup Kiss, solo albums, and now we have non-makeup.
We could have broken it up to like two more shows.
Right. No, we're just gonna because we could have done 80s, 90s, 2000s, like that. Okay. Right. No, I think everybody's had enough. So Kiss, if you wanted the best, you got the best.
It.
All right. So long show. Anything? What do you got, Don? You got any questions for me?
We were going to talk about big coming up trips.
I don't have that page. What do I have on there?
You have mid-March, Green River, an upcoming ADV trip at...
Donnie's for sure going, and it looks like I'm 50-50 on going. You're probably 50-50 even though you're...
I'm probably 50-50.
Okay. At the end of March, there's a ride...
But there's no hotels available. I looked already.
Oh, no.
Yep.
What do you have to stay in St. George?
I would say St. George, or I would take my... Motorhome. Yeah, I looked. There's nothing on Friday night. You could go Thursday and Saturday night, but not Friday.
You checked all the cheap ones, like the Virgin River.
I looked at like two of them, and they said no Friday night. I think maybe the Virgin River might have one, but we'll see.
Okay, I'll look. I have a note to check hotels for this March trip, so it'll remind me, and I'll look at this. So the end of March, Rocky Mountain has, and I have a link. You can show it on the screen, Donnie, of this ride.
Yep.
I think we're going to go. Rado wants to go.
Is Rado taking the
adventure bike? Is what we're thinking. Yeah, that's what I need to see. I'm trying to get an outline of where these big rides. They're starting to go into Caliente, Nevada, and one day and there's some different rides to choose from.
I think Scott might want to go.
So it's an adventure ride.
Yep.
Rocky Mountain ATV's doing. It's out of Mesquite, Nevada, which is where it's where Nevada and Arizona and Utah all meet at the corner down there. So it's a really nice area. At the end of March, it should be, it can be, up to 80s in the daytime range, right? 80, even up to 85, but usually it's going to be like 70s if all goes well. So rain is probably like a 10% chance. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yeah.
The 10%. It'd be great if it had some rain before.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
But if it rains here before, then I probably wouldn't even go. I'd just cancel all trips and just stay home. Right. That's how terrible I am. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, mid-March, and this goes for the mid-March trip too. Once I'll know, like 7 days out, because I don't plan things more than 7 days out, like legit.
Totally.
We have a trip planned for the middle of March to go to Green River, Utah area. It's Spencer's birthday ride. So we will take a few
It'd
people.
be my birthday ride too.
That's right. It's close to yours, and it's before mine, like 10 days. So it's kind of, I guess we'll call it my birthday ride.
All three?
Right. 3 in 1. But mine could be the end of March.
Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody wants to join us on that Green River ride, we took. You can meet us. If you look at a map in the town of Green River, it'll be there. Now, first thing, I'm the slowest guy on the ride. So if you've seen me ride or seen my abilities on trails, that's your stick. No one should be worse than me going.
I think I'm worse than you.
But I put up with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And just because you don't ride as often.
I think I'm not 50% worse. I'm 10%.
No.
10%, 5% worse.
Right. And you're just not riding enough.
Yeah,
That's the
just not
problem.
riding
If you're riding as much as I do, you'd be obviously just as good or better.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to be at least that good. Your bikes need to be good. No kickstart four
Can you
strokes.
show up with bald tires? Or
No. All your stuff needs to be good. So basically, if you have a problem, whoever's with you, because you can't just come by yourself, you have to have somebody with you. So if you have a problem, you and that guy go back.
You have to tech your own stuff.
Yeah. We're not. There's no chase truck. There's no like any of that stuff.
Right.
So we're gonna ride on Friday and Saturday. Was it the 14th and 15th?
14, 15.
All right. So anyway, you can just email me if you want to get on that. And like I said, it's 80%, 90% sure I'm getting hotel rooms and everything. But if it was to rain a bunch in California, which we don't think it's going to, but if it did,
It's supposed to rain this weekend.
right? But it's just a small chance. I saw it. It's just one day. 30% chance or something.
All
So
right.
if it was to rain before, I would cancel and just have Spencer come down here and we'd ride here because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just do that trip in April or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our next trip, ride trip that you guys can go on. And the one in March with Rocky Mountain, that should be fun. And if you're an adventure bike guy or a dual sport, you can go on that. You need a street legal good
I'm going to
bike.
tell you that the reason I signed up for this is because that one I did, the KTM rally, actually had way more fun than I thought I would have.
Right.
Because, I had some choice words when I showed up, but then I was like, wow, this was fun.
Yeah. I like that you were worn out and slept in and missed the second day.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I never wake up to an alarm clock. So,
Tools. Okay.
Oh,
we
yeah.
We didn't talk about this tool.
You can talk about
Donnie
this.
gave me a present. And this tool, we don't have it plugged in. It's got a little air blower with a little thing inside of here that goes like this. And he says it's really good for blowing the bikes off. And he got it for me just for being me.
that's right.
Okay. So you got that. And then and there's an adapter. You can put this one on and you can use it for like detailing your car. And it's supposed to blow stuff up. And then you could have your vacuum there to vacuum it up.
There you go.
But this thing, he's saying, will work good on blowing our bikes off. And which we do a lot of.
Yep.
And Cody's really good at this, and so we'll see. But just on his little compressor here, I checked it, and with a regular gun on there, and then I put this one on, it was definitely a noticeable difference. So Amazon?
Yep.
All right. You can email us for the link. We'll add it to our Amazon page of links.
Sounds good.
All right. That's it, man. That's a lot of stuff, dude. Is this the longest
stuff.
show ever?
No. This is
130. So we're going to be like a 120 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had
The
some
other one
breaks.
we did 140, 138 or something.
Okay, so fun show. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Anything else?
Nope.
That's it. Enjoy.
Sounds
Get out
good.
working on your bikes, riding, all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
We work with some great companies, and here's a list of those right now. Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Wiseco Piston, Vinco Air Shocks and Dirt Bike Parts, FMF Exhaust, Decal Works Graphics, Pro X Racing Parts, Recluse Clutch Revolution, Motion Pro Specialty Motorcycle Tools, Works Connection, Uni Filter, Klotz Oil, Cometic Gasket, MX Plastics, JE Pistons, Cardo Systems, ODI Bars and Grips. And remember, if you shop Rocky Mountain, use our link from our site, Linktree, or link in description of the videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.